the natural gas industry, both of them.
Last question for you, sir, from me. Again, on the topic of natural gas, we've talked about the fact that California is pretty significantly reliant, about 60% depend on natural gas, vast majority of which is imported. My question has to do with how the percentage or how much of our natural gas that we extract, if you will, from fracking. Fracking is used here in the state.
Well, as you point out, most of our natural gas is from out of state. We have some. My understanding on fracking, and I asked this to the head of Department of Oil and Gas, was that California has some fracking, particularly in Kern County for enhanced oil recovery.
Yes.
That tends not to be vertical, but horizontal.
Yes.
And you know, they're certainly doing a study on that.
Yes.
But again, that's sort of one of those areas that I'm sort of following, but it's not certainly my direct responsibility to understand that. Although I would say one of the workshops we had last year in our independent energy policy report was crude by rail. You know, that we really tried to bring together all the experts so that people could understand the issues of what happens as you start transporting petroleum, particularly some back-end crude, around on trains, and how to make sure that the early responders have the tools they need in terms of resources and information, and how to make sure that the PUC, federal government, does everything they need to do to make sure those trains are safe.
So my question on fracking has to do with natural gas.
And I'm saying, in California, there's not much. Out of state, certainly, you know, there's a lot of the source of new natural gas, particularly in Texas, is from fracking. You know, we get our natural gas, a lot of it is from Rocky Mountains, a lot of it is from Canada. And I don't think there's as much there, but certainly the Southwest has been one of our, if you look at in-state production, which is not much, Canadian, Rocky Mountain, and we've had relationships with gotten gas from Texas, New Mexico since the 50s. So again, there's got to be some fraction of it that is coming from fracking.
Thank you very much.
Sure.
Thank you very much. Last but not least, Ms. Leyva.
Thank you, Mr. Pro Tem. Good afternoon, Mr. Weisenmiller. Okay, you still ready to go?
Yeah, sure.
I enjoyed meeting with you a couple weeks ago. I think you have an extensive energy history background and bring a lot to this position. I also think there's a lot of challenges moving forward. I have two questions. One, the state is currently working towards increasing our renewable portfolio standard from 33 to 50%, which, as you know, means a greater reliance on renewable energy, specifically solar. There will be times when we capture more solar than we need. How do we capture that so that we can use it for later?
Okay. One of the really exciting initiatives now, which I didn't mention, but I am spending a lot of time on, is we're trying to move towards a regional market for power, something called the Energy Imbalance Market. And that's an initiative of the California Independent System Operator. In addition, we have just gotten the historic announcement that PacifiCorp wants to join the Independent System Operator. And the nice part about if we can come up with more regional exchanges like that is obviously our solar now, you look north-south in California. If you could look east-west, you know, you'd have periods where the sun is rising or loads are going. We get a lot more diversity there. But I mean, actually, since November, since the first part of the energy imbalance market went online, I could see over generation periods where the power was going out of state, and we were, you know, it wasn't, you know, so that's huge, and that's something we can do pretty quickly. Now, in addition, if we could electrify our transportation system, right? I mean, people could recharge their cars at different times when we have excess power, and they could get it fairly cheaply, or they could provide that backup.
What about homes or businesses? Do you have any ideas on how we could capture that excess solar so that it can be used maybe at night or when it's cloudy?
Well, some of it is batteries, and one of the questions which we're really looking at is also converting some of our space and water heating from gas to electricity. And I think looking at the air quality challenges in Southern California, I would not be surprised if, going forward in the 2020 period or so, dealing with that air quality regulations, if we're not going to be in a situation of saying, okay, how do we electrify, space and water heating? How do we electrify transportation? How do we start doing desalinization? I mean, how do we start building the loads to really absorb that, but do it in a way that's flexible? What you want is something where when we have overgen, if we have variable resources, we need variable loads to match with those resources. And where when it's cheap, people will take more power, and when it's expensive, they'll take less. Right?
Very good. My other question is, first a statement, we're moving into kind of an exciting time in California, more green jobs, more renewable energy. How do we make sure that these are good, livable wage jobs? I think we have a real opportunity. Manufacturing has, for the most part, left California. This could be a real way for us to rebuild the middle class. But how do we make sure that they're living wage jobs, that these projects have project labor agreements? How do we do that?
Well, for the Central Station projects, the 9 I mentioned we permit. In fact, almost everything we permit, the Energy Commission ends up having a participating labor agreement. I think of the projects we permitted my first year. I think there was one where they were stubborn enough they didn't do it, but the rest certainly fell in line for that.
So you could just say no to that one.
Well, my difficulty was actually this factual pattern was exactly the same for that project as one which had a participating labor agreement, and so I couldn't.
All right.
Yeah, but I'm just saying that's a key part. Now with some of the other there's more distributed technologies, be it rooftop, be it refueling. I mean, these are great opportunities for union jobs.
Right.
And at this stage, trying to figure out for the unions to sort of move into that area is certainly interesting issues. But as you said, I want to talk about everyone needs to participate. At this point, a lot of our programs are really benefiting the early adapters, and we need to make sure again that we're creating the jobs for people.
I agree. Let's just make sure that we make them good, livable wage jobs so that everybody benefits as we all move into this new economy.
Oh, that's true. I think the other thing that's very important, just to close, for second follow-up, what I mentioned is, obviously at this point, I'm a scientist. I'm the commission scientist. And so science, engineering, the whole, we really have to train our youth so that they can deal with the technological society we have and then where the jobs are going to be.
I agree with you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, Ms. Leyva. Okay, we're going to go to those who are in support. We're going to take a little break? Okay. Why don't we take let's see. We're going to go for a 5-minute break. 5-minute break, and then we're going to bring up those in support of the nomination, those in opposition, and those who may be neutral or agnostic. So we'll take a 5-minute break.
Great.
We're going to begin so we can move on this nomination for a vote. Those in the audience who are in support of the nomination, please come up. I'm going to ask you to please be brief. Please begin.
Good afternoon, committee members. Pierre Delforge on behalf of the Natural Resources Defense Council. I will. Over the last 4 years, under the Chair Weisenmüller's leadership, the Energy Commission has made tremendous progress toward the state's clean energy goal. The achievements of the Commission is too numerous to cite. I just want to highlight 3 in the area of energy efficiency, which is our cheapest and cleanest energy resource. First, the Commission adopted revised building energy codes, which require new buildings to be 25% more efficient than previously. They also adopted groundbreaking new appliance efficiency standards, particularly the world's first standards for products with rechargeable batteries, which are proliferating in our homes. and also most recently water efficiency standards for plumbing fixtures, which will save the state over 100 billion gallons of water annually, which is a critical piece in our response to the drought. The Commission also adopted regulations to enforce standards, which is critical to achieve all the savings of the existing standards for Californians and to level the playing field for all market participants. And third, the Commission for the first time relied on energy efficiency in its forecast, which is important because it allows us to avoid the need to build new power plants. And in this case, we are avoiding the need to build approximately 10 new power plants for the next 10 years. So for these reasons, we urge the committee to support the confirmation of Chair Weisenmiller. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Next witness in support.
Hi, Fran Inman, Senior Vice President, Majestic Realty. Delighted, President Pro Tem and distinguished members, to be able to lend our support to Chair Weisenmiller. I was listening to the conversation, and I think one thing that goes missing, to be a person whose career hasn't been in the energy sector, but realizes how important it is for all of us working together, is I see Chair Weisenmiller and his entire team at the CEC as really being great teachers for all of us. And I think that's important. As I've said many times, we often get in our silos, and I'm guilty of this around the logistics and supply chain and talk in our own languages. But I think it's important for all of us to be able to build those bridges and to work together. So we urge your confirmation of his.
Thank you very much, Ms. Inman. Next witness in support.
Yes, good afternoon, Chairman, members of the committee. My name is Sakita Grant. I'm with the Green Lining Institute. We are a social justice nonprofit working to advance economic opportunities for low and moderate income communities and communities of color. I'm here today to provide a voice on behalf of those communities and to also support the confirmation of Chair Weisenmiller. We work to give these communities a voice on major energy issues, which include our tireless work on the Charge Ahead campaign, which works to make electric vehicles more affordable to low and moderate income communities, and also doing work around diversity and making the clean energy sector more inclusive in terms of employment opportunities. We support leaders in government who support equitable policies that represent these communities and provide benefits for all Californians. Chair Weisenmiller has shown this type of leadership. He expressly supports actively engaging diverse communities in the implementation of the electric program investment charge. Under his leadership, the Energy Commission passed a resolution this year committing the Commission to maximize fair and equal opportunities for small and diverse businesses. The chair also actively participated in the Green Lining Institute's Good Economy Day of Action, a day where we met with small and ethnic businesses as well as policymakers in order to discuss how we can increase diversity in the clean energy sector. Finally, as Chair Weisenmiller mentioned earlier, he has extended an invitation for the Green Lining Institute to participate in the AB 8 Advisory Committee, which will allow us to provide a voice for low and moderate income communities and communities of color with regard to how the state invests in clean energy transportation technologies. The chair has shown and continues to show strong commitment to low and moderate income communities and communities of color, and we are excited to continue working with him in reaching his diversity goals. We therefore strongly support his confirmation. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Next witness in support.
Mr. Chairman, members of the committee, John O'Malley with California Advocates on behalf of our client NRG in strong support of this nomination.
Thank you. Next witness in support.
Thank you. I'm Jance Money Jones. I'm with the Independent Energy Producers Association. We represent about 26,000 megawatts of generation here in California, including about 85% of the delivered renewables. And we've been at this for quite some time. And I think it's important to put this in perspective, as Dr. Weisenmiller indicated under his tenure, the siting of power plants, both with respect to the 9 solar plants he mentioned, as well as several of the gas plants that are needed to provide backup when the sun isn't shining or wind isn't blowing, is very, very important. And I think we need to continue to generate electricity here in California reliably, and affordable and as clean as we can get it. And we've made great progress in that position. The gas fleet today is 24% more
Okay,
efficient.
we're going to get to,
Got it.
you're going to
Okay.
speak about Mr. Weisenmiller?
Yes,
or-
and
okay.
back many years ago when I was still a puppy, my first job was an state and federal solar commercialization program, and Mr. Weisenmiller was then on the staff of the CEC. I have known him since 1980 and find him to be a man of a very high integrity. He's balanced and fair, and we would certainly encourage his reappointment to the California Energy Commission.
Great.
Thank you.
Fantastic. Next witness in support.
Yes, Michael Shaw, California Manufacturers and Technology Association. Wanted to offer our support as well for Commissioner Weisenmiller. His knowledge, experience, clearly his background well suit him for this position to dutifully and carefully consider the options before the commission as they make decisions on siting facilities and such. I did want to make note, as going forward, you encourage Commissioner Weisenmiller and the commission as a whole to look at the impact of higher energy prices. California manufacturers continue.
Why don't we do this? One, that's a
70% above national
sidebar. That's a sidebar question, and you
Okay.
can have after with Mr. Weisenmiller.
We appreciate the additional tools and opportunities that are provided to California manufacturers to be competitive in the market.
Thank you much. Next witness in support.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, members of the committee. Jeremy Smith here on behalf of the State Building and Construction Trades Council. I'd like to thank Mr. Weisenmiller for the times that I've testified before his commission on his acknowledgement on my testimony and my colleagues' testimony about the jobs that are created by the initiatives that come out of the commission. And the back and forth between him and Senator Leyva today shows me he does believe there's an economic impact to what they do, and we're pleased to support his confirmation today. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Next witness in support.
Yes, good afternoon. Yolanda Benson, representing Calpine Corporation. We are an independent energy producer as well as the largest geothermal producer in the world with the geysers. We are very supportive of Dr. Weisenmiller, and we feel he's incredibly uniquely qualified for all of the issues that come before the Energy Commission and for all of the issues that will be coming before him on renewable energy and energy as a whole.
Thank you very much. Next witness in support.
Hi, Jamie Miner from Nimola Pappas and Associates for large-scale solar, NextEra Energy, and the Energy Efficiency Council. We appreciate your knowledge, your exploration of very complex policy issues, and we appreciate all you've done.
Thank you very much. Next witness in support.
Mr. Chair, members, Jesus Arredondo on behalf of the Western Power Trading Forum and our nearly 80 member companies, including renewable developers and conventional generation developers. All of the IPPs are actually members of our association. And also on behalf of the Power Company of Wyoming and Alta Gas, in strong support of Dr. Weisenmiller's reconfirmation. He's been a tremendous asset to the commission, and we hope to see him continue to be there. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Next witness in support.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman and members. My name is Gil Topidi. I represent the California Municipal Utilities Association. That's 40 of the state's locally owned public utilities throughout the state. We support the reappointment of Commissioner Weisenmiller. He's your most tenured commissioner on the commission. So many of the state's very progressive energy policies, publicly owned utilities, have to report directly to the commission, and we look forward to working with him and all the knowledge that he imparts on our organizations. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Any other folks in support? Any other folks? Seeing none, those in opposition? Seeing no opposition, those who are agnostic, neutral? Seeing none, Madam Secretary, well, I should say, can we get a motion? Can we get a motion? We have a motion made by Ms. Leyva. Madam Secretary, please call the roll.
Senators Canella? Aye. Canella, aye. Leyva? Aye. Leyva, aye. Mitchell? Aye. Mitchell, aye. Fuller? DeLeon?
Aye.
DeLeon, aye.
Mr. Weisenmiller, your nomination passes the Senate Rules Committee by a 4-0 vote. Congratulations. So let's go to file item number 3, colleagues. We have a few more governor appointees. However, they are not required to appear. We got file item number 3, I through M. I through M. Can I get a motion? We have a motion made by Ms. Mitchell. Madam Secretary, please call the roll.
Senators Canella? Aye. Canella, aye. Leyva? Aye. Leyva, aye. Mitchell? Aye. Mitchell, aye. Fuller? DeLeon?
Aye.
DeLeon, aye.
File item number 3 passes on a 4-0 vote. Let's go with file item number 4 through 11. That's file item number 4 through 11. Can I get a motion? We have a motion made by Madam Mitchell. Madam Secretary, please call the roll.
Senators Canella? Aye. Canella, aye. Leyva? Aye. Leyva, aye. Mitchell? Aye. Mitchell, aye. Fuller? DeLeon?
Aye.
DeLeon, aye.
File items pass on a 4-0 vote. We're going to go now into executive session.